Welcome to Ojas Oasis. This is a place where you will learn how to optimize your body, mind, and spirit in ways you have longed for a long time, perhaps your entire life. Our mission is to help you cultivate, nourish, and protect your ojas, your immunity, and inner peace. Namaste. So today we have Suniti Ramanujam in the house. I think I got that right. I'm so proud of myself. Okay, so Suniti is the founder of Pure Miti, which is an Ayurvedic sustainable brand that covers everything from household cleaning products to personal wellness products. And it's such an amazing thing to have something like this in the US that is made with such traditional ways of just like how you source the herbs to the whole process of making soaps and making cleaners. And it's just it's not every day you stumble upon an Ayurvedic brand that is so traditional and really Ayurvedic, like truly Ayurvedic, not just marketing itself to be, oh, because we have sandalwood in it, it's Ayurvedic, or it really truly is the way that the products are made. And you could say that they're not just products, they're like, I look at what Suniti has created as really medicine because of how sustainable everything is, from who she's hiring to make the products to their effect on the environment. So without further ado, Suniti, I'm first of all, I'm so happy you're here. Thank you for being here and for reaching out. And
Thank you, Sasha. You're a wonderful,
yeah.
wonderful person.
Oh, you're so wonderful. And like we hit it off right away when we met. We just instantly bonded on so many aspects of the spiritual path. Like it just seems like we're cut from the same cloth, right? Like we're similar people. So we were actually introduced by a fellow entrepreneur in the wellness space, Isaac Brody from Social Like. He connected us. I think he met you at a trade show, and he probably saw. He was
Yeah,
probably like, "You remind me of Sasha." That's all I could think of. I mean, sure, you
that's
also,
right.
you have an extensive Ayurvedic background, but I think also like personality wise, there's definitely a lot of commonalities, similar traits. So what inspired you to? First of all, wait, let's back up. Can we talk about who um, your family background with Ayurveda? Could we start with that? Because that's pretty cool. You have some really famous yogi relatives in your house, in your family lineage, don't you? Or at least like in-laws.
I would say in-laws, yeah. I grew up in a Ayurvedic household. You can say that my great grandmother and my grandmother, they are sanitarians. They lived until 102. And I grew up in a home which had like, we were filled with lush trees and everything was so medicinal around me. We had about 20 coconut trees around me. In our compound, we had mango trees, we had mehendi trees, we had lemon trees, we had just about tulsis, and we had like a neem tree. It was just to literally we go out in the garden if something was wrong with us. That's how we grew up. My mother would literally just, we would make kajal at home. Then she would apply hair powders on our hair on a weekend basis with oils that gets soaked and that gets made at home. Anything that is wrong with us, be it digestion, be it immunity, be it skin, be it hair, be it anything, we just go to the garden, we pick up the herbs, we call our grandmother, and then she says, "This is what you need to do," and that's what we do. And that's how I've grown up. And somehow yoga also became a part of our lifestyle. Not while growing up as much, though I do have to mention that my uncle, or rather my own dad's cousin, is the son-in-law of BKS Iyengar, which
Mm.
means my cousin currently is running the institute up with Iyengar Yoga in the Pune. And all my cousins are up there. They're running the place right now. Though we were brought up with that kind of a knowledge, wisdom around us, yoga didn't enter my life until about very recent, I would say almost 10 years back. And it was in 2016 that it really took shape in my life. And I would say it just transformed me in ways that I can't even imagine. Yoga, Ayurvedic life, and also I was working at National Geographic, which kind of, I don't know if it is coincidental or what, but I was working with the Planet or the Plastic Edition. I was running a team for an advertising team of about 10 to 15 members, and our our role was to go out and talk to clients to say, come and advertise with our in our fantastic brand portfolio because we're pulling out all these facts and figures about how we humans have destroyed the planet. So every day my task would be to come in and look at the ghastly figures and the ghastly numbers of how we humans have destroyed the planet because of plastics and
Mm-hmm.
because of toxins. And that made me wonder, who am I? Like, what am I? What am I doing towards this cause? And one day I came home to open up just my living room cupboards and my kitchen cupboards, my bathroom cupboards, just to find out the amount of plastics that I myself was consuming on a daily basis. I was such a preparator for this whole thing, and I said, wait a minute, if I'm doing this much, who am I to go and talk to people outside and lobby to clients outside for them to become a change? Let me become the change. And so I started to lead a lifestyle with absolutely no plastics and no toxins for almost a week. And then it went on to 2 weeks. My gosh, that was one of the most hardest lifestyles that I've ever probably tried to lead because you go out on the market, there's nothing available that can be non-plastic, there's nothing that's available that can be non-toxic. And I was just shocked at the amount of consumption on a daily basis that I was consuming. I said, this can't be true. I have to become the change. And I took a sabbatical, or I took a few months off from Nat Geo, and I went down to the rural communities in southern India because I knew back in the day we all grew up in a very sustainable household, in a very sustainable environment, and I wanted to recreate that. And I said the only way for me to recreate that, or at least to just film how people lived sustainably back in the day, because back in the day, in our grandmother times and in our ancient times, we lived absolute sustainable lives. We did not
Mm-hmm.
ever use, I mean, plastic was not a commodity. It was such a treasure at that time. I remember my mother, she would take this plastic bag and it'll get folded nicely and it'll be kept in the cupboard and we would use it. Um, excuse me. We would use it and then we would and take it and then fold it again and keep it back
Wow.
into the cupboard. I've never seen it ever go down to the waste. And it was such a rare thing that we would use that. And I said, where can I find this? So I walked and walked. Went down to the rural communities, and it's when I found all these rural farmer, like undeserving women who are lowly economic people who are making these fascinating products simply out of Mother Earth. They were making these not only sustainable products, but they are making 100% toxic free products simply with few ingredients coming directly from the earth. And I was just fascinated. I said, okay, this is amazing. This is what we used back at the day. We used turmeric paste on our bodies on a daily basis. We used henna and we used shikakai on our hair on a weekly basis. But then how do I bring this back, that wisdom back to our communities? Because that is a sure way for us to go 100% toxin free, at least on your daily needs. And I brought them back. And at that time, I was living in Brooklyn, in New York. And I walked up to all the natural food co-ops that I would typically shop with. And there was one such food co-op, which is the Park Slope Food Co-op, which is one of the largest food co-ops in Brooklyn. And I was a member there because I exactly knew when when you're a member in a co-op, you kind of know the products they take, you know how they transact in the shelves, and you know the ins and outs of how the organization functions. And I said I went up to the buyer and I said you should try this, just try it for our members and see what you think. And then within 2 weeks he came back to say we want to place an order with you. But then I said, wait a minute, I haven't formed a company. I'm just a member here, and I've just given you these products, but I don't have a company. He was like, okay, I'll give you 2 weeks, go form a company and come. I was like, oh, wow.
2 weeks. You did this all in
Two
two
weeks.
weeks.
And I just
Wow.
formed a company in 2 weeks, and I figured, oh my God, there's, I'm forming a company. Like, this is meant to be. I have no idea. Um, but before this, I mean, I've always been wanting to, like, my spiritual journey with yoga also took a huge transformation within me. I started to do very intense courses with Isha Yoga, and I started to do. I would meditate almost three hours a day, and then go to work. That used to be my daily routine. Would wake up at 4:35 in the morning, do like 3 hours of intense yoga practices and meditation. But what that led me was that I think I was getting more and more closer to the truth, if you can imagine. Like there, there was one thing that was happening with Net Geo, which made me extremely ghastly looking like, what am I doing? It made me feel very uneasy within myself. And then there was this other thing wherein I found these sustainable communities back in India, and I wanted to film them and come back and give it back to Net Geo to say, you need to write a story about this. That was my original intention. And then there was this co-op asking me to form a company. And then my own spiritual journey with yoga took me to such larger, great shapes that there was one particular program we did wherein I did a very intense sadhana, you can say that, almost 8 days of absolute silence, um, which just opened up and just allowed me to shed multiple layers within myself. And it just opened up a completely different perspective about how we humans are living and how we need to live. And that made me realize that I want to do something purposeful that can be helpful to the community. It can empower the community so that we can go back in time. We can at least try to uh, empower and bring about the things, the traditions, the methods, the rituals that we were used to back in the time, because back in the time it worked. It worked for my grandmother generation. It worked for us. Why can't it work for now? And it just brought this quest within myself. How do I make the change? How do I make the change?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a manufacturer. I don't know how to make these products. I don't even know how to formulate. But then I knew I wanted to become a change. Um, so I was retailing these products from these sustainable communities, and these products were like some products in skin, and then we had few products in hair, and that's about it. We were retailing them almost for a year, which means I would buy it from there, and then I would sell it here to the markets in and around neighboring markets in Brooklyn, and that's it. That's all I was doing. And then COVID hit, but then this quest within me to become a change or to at least um, give the change to the others just grew within me. So it became so large within myself that I couldn't contain. But by then, it was almost I and my family, we were leading a 100% chemical-free lifestyle in our home. As soon as I came to know of these, um, the atrocities that we humans have committed, and it was just so much. It was at that time, it was like the marine life was, they were getting they were dying within every second, all because of plastics, and it was the awareness about plastic pollution was so high at that time. This was during the COVID time, and COVID also hit, so I couldn't sustain bringing the products from these farmers or from these rural communities anymore because it was just the shipping was getting too much.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, but I have to sustain this initiative somehow because it was very close to me, and at the same time, I felt that this country needed that change. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to bring about this change to this country. So I took another year off and I poured myself in chemistry, in formulating, in talking to people, in talking to tribal people, and I spoke to a lot of farmers from here remotely. I had access somehow I just got access. It was just like almost
Mm-hmm.
the universe was opening to you,
Yes.
and they gave me
Yes.
this access to all these farmers, and I spoke to
Resources.
my people, to my resources. I spoke to a lot of scientists. I spoke to a lot of medical journalists who've been in this field for some time, who understood the old ancient ways of Ayurvedic living. I spoke to a lot of Vaidyas and understood, so how can I formulate that? So now it's trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. I reached to a point where within a year, I formulated about 14 different products. Um, there were about five different flavors in bath bars. And I'm proud to say that our bath bars just consist of just three ingredients. It's coconut oil, castor oil, and fresh herbs. So it's almost like applying fresh herbs on our skin. This is what we used to do back in the day. We would apply fresh bath powder, and that's how in Ayurveda it's the tradition, it's the norm,
Mm.
because the herbs or the plants, we are so intertwined with the plants at all times, with nature at all times. And Ayurveda, as you know, is a science where we talk about trying to always trying to maintain the balance in the system. So if the balance in the system is maintained, of course, then you're going to have a healthy life. But the balance in the system is hard to maintain because of influences from the outside, influences from the inside. So anything that is a problem with us, like be it hair fall or a dandruff or a skin rash, immunity or a fever, a cough, it's because something is off. Like
Mm-hmm.
the balance between the Ida and the Pingala, or the left and the right, it's off. So we have to work on that. Now, I cannot go and talk to mainstream audience to say, get on with your balance. That wasn't how it was meant to be. But then how do I bring that aspect of how we tried to do that balance? We do that with yoga. We do that with kind of the time in which we have a shower, the time in which the products that we use on our skin, the products that we use to wash our utilities, our dishes, our utensils in the home, the products that we use to keep in our home, everything matters, and that defines the Ayurvedic lifestyle. So I was trying to bring about that aspect in every product that we can find. That is, it's not only just nourishes and moisturizes. If it is a bath bar, it is just made of three ingredients because we want to bring about the efficacy of the herbs as much as possible on your skin. So the way we do it is, now when I say we, is because it's the me and the rural farmers who have we worked in partnership. So it is I'm the forefront here, but then I have about close to 120 rural women who manufacture our products today, because we believe that only they can do it, because we this is an ancient skill, it's an ancient craft. They have been following this for so many years, and the way we make our soaps also, we use the Thailand method, the Ayurvedic Thailand method, which I don't think any product does it, because we wanted to bring about how can you use simple herbs on your skin that can be very effective. At the same time, it is good for not only yourself, but when it goes down back into the earth, it is good for the earth, and it has to be good for the earth. So we wanted to bring about every aspect in the old way, in the traditional way. So the way we source our ingredients also is from these rural people who live by the Western Ghats in India. So they're very close to the hills of Western Ghats, which means the land is extremely fertile there. We take coconuts from the coconut trees. We
Mm-hmm.
make coconut oil. We grow our own turmeric there. We grow our own shikakai there. Everything is grown right there, and it is widely harvested, 100% organic, because we wanted to bring it from that source. And then we use the old method. So to make a bar of soap, it takes us almost 2 3 months, because we go through this filtration, or like cooking with the herbs, and filtering it, cooking it, almost like a concoction, almost like the actual Thailand that that in Ayurveda that you use for skin. Similarly, on we wanted to, and then I looked at I walked from room to room in my home, and that's how I figured out how can I become toxin free. So the first thing that I attempted was how do I get rid of all the body washes, which means I need to make it into a soap bar, which is not only good for your skin because it has the necessary herbs, but it completely degrades, biodegrades, and so it just completely dissolves. So there's nothing left remaining. I wanted to create a change for the amount of plastics that we use for in terms of the shampoos and the hair products that we use. If you look at any shampoo, half of it is if you look at if it is a liquid one, 80% of it is water. So the remaining 20%, if it's a commercial lead shampoo, we have to add any kind of harsh chemicals in order for you to get that nourishment, the conditioning, the moisturizing, the cleansing effect. So which means you're artificially adding stuff to it to give you that necessary properties. But the same thing can be obtained even from what Mother Nature has provided, and that's what I came to understand. What we did back in the day is we would simply use shukkai as a cleanser. We would simply use arapu powder as a conditioner. Why can that be used today, right?
Arrowroot powder.
And if it is used,
Even as
yeah,
like a
exactly.
dry shampoo, it's incredible. Something so
It's
simple.
incredible. And it has there was a reason why they used it. The reason is just not conditioning much. Okay, you have to clean your hair. It has to look nice. It has to be cleansed on a regular basis. But more than that, at the same time, again, I'm coming back to the same thing of trying to maintain balance within the system. When you apply these herbs on the hair, it pulls down the ushna within the system, within ourselves. When it pulls down, the controls
The
the
heat.
ushna, right?
For
The
people who
heat,
don't know what
yes.
ushna means, ushna is a Sanskrit word for heat. Hmm.
And we without our knowledge, because of the food we eat, because of our mental capabilities, stress, because of the environment outside, the body temperature is always increasing. The heat increases. If the heat increases, then that means you're opening up your scalp, your skin for any kind of inflammations from outside, any kind of infections. When you're opening that up to, when you're exposing that to all these inflammations, infections, that's when you have things like dandruff, you have hair fall, you have acne, you have all of that. So how best everything is a preventive and there's a cure. And most of the products from ancient science is always looking at the preventive. But it's harmless. When you always want to prevent something, it is always harmless. So these hair products, which is we have four ranges of hair products. We have a shampoo, a conditioner, a hair mask, and a hair. It's called a herbal hair wash, or you mix the shampoo and the conditioner together. It is a multitude of one to about nine herbs. And there is a math, there's a science behind it. When you use the herbs on the skin, it helps you with premature graying. It helps you with preventing yourself from dandruff. It helps you with promoting the hair, increasing of the
Hair
hair growth.
growth. Hmm.
Yeah, hair growth. And then it also helps you from making it very less limp, and
Hmm.
it helps you from split ends. So there are a multitude of effects. Sometimes even in hot conditions, especially at the summertime, we are exposed to other things like lice because of excessive sweat, because the body produces excess. It helps you with that. So there are so many properties that it helps you not only just on your scalp, but then automatically when it comes down, your body feels so cool. And then when you rinse off the powders from the hair in your regular hair wash, it falls on the sink. It has these antibacterial properties. So your bathroom floor becomes antibacterial. And then when it goes down to the earth, it actually promotes microbial life. When it promotes microbial life in the soil is very, very important because the organic content of our soil always has to be retained, at least has to be maintained and not deteriorate. Today, our organic content has deteriorated so much that we have lost 70% of the soil. We want to maintain it to at least about 3 to 4%. Always, the organic content has to be maintained. But the products that we have been using for eons, the commercial-led products, the toxins that are sitting in those products, just goes and strips it off. When it strips off the microbial life, there is no organic matter. If there's no organic matter, whatever produce that you buy from the supermarket, you're going to have to supplement it with multivitamins, with kind of other supplements because the produce is all altered. It looks big, but it has nothing in it. There is no enough nutrition to support you. And then we talk about immunity, and then we talk about like we don't have enough immunity. Then you go vaccinate yourself. It is the cycle. You are just going against the cycle at all times.
And then you get antibiotics, right?
And
Yeah.
then you get
And
antibiotics, which
wipe
means
out your bacterial, your microbiome is even more deteriorated. So your immune
exactly.
system is totally wiped out and you have you have food that like you said is sourced from soil that is depleted in its original, balance of
Yeah,
bacteria. And people talk about bacteria all the time as if it's a bad thing that you need to avoid or protect yourself from. 80% of our stomach is bacteria. Or right? Or like
that's right.
80% of our immunity is in our stomach, is in our gut, I should say, not just the stomach, the whole gut lining,
The whole
which goes
gut, yeah,
from the stomach all the way. Yeah. Especially the small intestine. Most of the bacteria is in the small intestine. Um, that's where we're absorbing all the nutrients. So, um, it's is it a coincidence that Sadhguru, his whole big, initiative right now, it's all about save the soil. Do you think that that has influenced you in any way, or is that just coincidental? Is it just because it's, maybe he's drawing more awareness to the problem because he's, really educating people about this and wanting this to be the kind of like the highest sankalpa for our generation, so that we can, save future generations from soil that has no like real life in it, no prana. Is it a coincidence
that's
or
right.
were
No
you?
prana.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say it's a coincidence because I have been the way I formulated these products was with absolute intention that it has to be good for the people, the planet, and the soil.
Mm.
And when Sadhguru started this movement, it was like, what? Am I meant to do this or what? Like, how is this coming onto my face?
Synchronicity. Synchronicity. Yeah.
It can't be. This can't be true. Because if you look at our the dish bar product, again, it was looked at absolute intention. And if you look, I mean, the dishes, I can't tell you. Like I had tears in my eyes when I looked into the mechanics of how we do our dishwashing. The dishes is something that the food, cutlery and plates is something that we eat food from on a daily basis. We are subconsciously or unconsciously literally picking up toxins and then ingesting into our bodies on a daily basis, and it's been going for eons. And we call this to be clean. That concept. It just took me a while to understand what are we doing to ourselves. And if you look at the dishwasher, our dishwasher, it doesn't have any brushes inside them. Have you noticed? It doesn't have any brushes,
Yeah.
which means, yeah, the reason is if the powders or whatever solution that you apply, be it the liquid, the powder, the sachets that comes in with where it little small little sachets, the Tide sachets, whatever the solution is that you apply to this, that powder has to be so effective or it has to be so harsh that just with the powder and just with the steam, it washes your dishes. So imagine the amount of the grease and the grime that we create on our cutleries. It just gets removed with just steam and detergents.
Mm.
So your detergents has to be so much of chemicals.
I
And I
know.
was like, wow, what's going on?
Do you have Ayurvedic
What are we
dish?
doing?
Do you have Ayurvedic dish pods? Or are you against the pods? Do you think like we need to wash old school with like I think the reason why people are so drawn obviously to the dishwasher is time has become such a commodity and people are looking for shortcuts because there's just more, even though we have all this technology that should be making our lives easier and more automated, it has really done the opposite. It has set a precedent for human beings to keep up with said technology and operate just as fast alongside all the software that's been created. So now it's
Yeah.
like, oh, there's no excuse for you to not be available because we know you have a cell phone. We know that you get your email
Yeah.
right to your phone and you could have that phone on your person 24/7. And so all that going, all that to say that the dishwasher is one area that I think people are very grateful that they don't have to spend too much time. But I go for I'm one of those people. I prioritize sustainable products, clean, toxic free cleaning products, and I go for the brand that I've been um, using forever has been Seventh Generation. Have you heard of this one? Seventh
Hmm.
Generation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the
Hmm.
intention is to basically it's thinking of 7 generations ahead of us. It's not just the
Hmm.
trees that we plant for ourselves to eat the fruit of those trees. It's for we should be planting seeds for trees that we will never even see grow and for fruits that we will never even be able to taste. We're planting, you know, we are trying to give the future children of this world a chance of enjoying this planet and enjoying the things that we have been able to enjoy, but we are seeing the very, very, very rapid decline of a lot of species and a lot of, like you were saying, just maybe everything's getting bigger, but it's becoming less substantial. Maybe superficially it looks bigger and better, but on the deeper layers of the produce, there's not much inside, which is such a great metaphor
That's
for
right.
what's going on with with human. If we want to get philosophical on it, it's like, okay, people are getting really, really done up on the outside and getting so hung up on, speed and efficiency and what it looks like, but we have to maintain the integrity of life on this planet. And Ayurveda has always done it. And Ayurveda represents that time, that ancient time. And Ayurveda is a bridge for us to maintain our humanity and maintain our connection with the earth and our harmony with the earth. And I am afraid that without Ayurveda, I don't know how we would ever have found our way back to the roots. I don't know
No,
what
oh,
other
absolutely.
system, no other system has this, like, has this um, very simple but profound. And, I say simple because it's like, oh, like it's herbs that you can just put on your head with a specific oil and um, make a paste out of it or something. You think it's so simple, but it's not simple because the plants, like you were saying, Suniti, have evolved with us over billions of years.
Hmm.
There's an
Hmm.
intelligence to these herbs. They're not, it's
Hmm.
not just, we don't understand, we can't comprehend how intelligent, our own bodies are, let alone other plants, other species of living organisms. But there's such immense um, disregard for this aspect of maintaining a healthy planet. And then, of course, it's
Oh,
going to
yeah.
affect the health of the population. And people are getting all these autoimmune conditions now that we never used to have. And so where did this come from? Why are people getting sicker, relying more on pharmaceutical medications? And people are getting cancers even though they're eating really, supposedly, quote unquote, maybe they're eating clean, but hold on, what soil was your food grown in? And maybe you're
Right.
not getting
Right.
enough of B vitamins or vitamin
Right.
D, or people don't know. And so I think even just starting, my passion is really to get the awareness, sparking the awareness, and trying the best as I can to be the channel for the wisdom to, like, wherever it lands. I don't know where it's going to land. I don't know who's going to, listen to any particular part of any particular conversation. But like you were saying, when you started Pyramidti and you had no background and you just were like, I want to do something about this problem with plastic. And then the universe just starts sending you resources or just giving them and offering them. And I think when you do have a moment in your life where you wake up and you realize, I am here for a reason, and there's always a path. There's a path for everyone to serve the highest destiny, the highest good for all, and finding what that is, and then just trusting and going down that path. And for you, it's been creating this beautiful business, this beautiful physical, tangible product that I and it makes me so happy because I also know that you're employing women that don't have very many means of attaining an income, and so you're supporting women, you're supporting indigenous women, you're supporting the true authentic roots of the knowledge because you're replenishing. It's like you're giving back to Ayurveda in so many ways. you know
I don't know if, yeah, absolutely. I don't know if I'm giving back to Ayurveda, but I definitely want to bring about Ayurveda in everyone's life. I think, and also there's a huge misconception about Ayurveda, right? They think now it's getting to be if you're Ayurvedic, it's a trend, it's a fad.
Tell him,
You,
Suniti.
if you
Tell
use a
him.
particular,
Tell him. I'm getting comfortable in my chair. I'm ready to listen to a good. Okay, let me just sit back and hear the music. I'm ready. Tell him, please, please.
exactly. If you use a particular plant, it becomes Ayurvedic. No, 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 no. That's not how it is. Just because you use, you know, you use turmeric, it doesn't become Ayurvedic. I don't know, but that's the definition of Ayurveda, and also people's understanding about Ayurveda. Ayurveda is just not one thing. Like like you might talked about immunity. If your immunity is low, people start to consume. They start to consume turmeric and neem. They start to pop in pills like that. It's not just one thing. It affects your overall lifestyle. It affects the lifestyle around you. We are all interconnected in this nature. And it's how best we connect ourselves or how best we resonate and respond to the life around us. That is Ayurveda. And that aspect, I don't think many people understand. Actually, people are very, very curious to find out our brand, Pure Miti, to serve personal care products. Oh, I didn't know Ayurvedic can be for personal care products. I only thought it is for immunity building and it is just for the kinds of foods that you eat and you go and clear your gut with Ayurveda. But it's no, it's the lifestyle. It's the overall lifestyle. And if you look at even personal care products, even for example, like turmeric, that is such a misconception that can I just go buy turmeric powder from the store and I take it and I apply it to my skin, I will get better. No, no, no. That will irritate your skin. That is such a wrong
You're gonna turn
misconception.
orange.
The turmeric that you use for cooking is very different from the turmeric that you use in your skin. And please don't ever mix the two, right? So there's so much of knowledge or there's so much of content out there, but I feel the content is kind of being misplaced. It's not being used in the right sense. But I want to be able to give out this knowledge of wanting to lead a lifestyle. Let's not talk about even Ayurveda. Keeping Ayurveda aside, just how can you become toxin free? If you can become toxin free as a conscious being for yourself and for the planet outside and for the soil underneath us, that consciousness of, okay, I don't want to consume this because it's bad for me and for the planet, that's all. That's a huge achievement through pure minting. Is how I started this. So if you look at going back to your older conversation, the amount of toxins we put in through our dishes, it's obnoxious. So is there a solution for us on the dishwasher? The solution that I have is that firstly I wanted to transform, get rid of all that dish soap that we put on the sink, that plastic little dish soap where it's filled with detergents, which means it's filled with harsh detergents. I wanted to get rid of that solution completely. So the way we made it is we made a dish bar, and we only use four ingredients. Um, One is a soap berry. Did you know that nature. I mean, look at the fascinating Mother Nature, right? Like she provides an abundance and she provides for all our needs, like even back in the day. So there is a berry called soapberry, and it grows in the trees in the tropical parts of India. It is a small little berry, and it has something called a natural saponin. Saponin is a component, is a chemical component that it will release when a predator comes and hits on it. So if a bird comes and hits on it, or if it's an insect bothers it, if there's like ruffles, with the trees and the leaves, for its protection, it releases that saponin. That saponin is something, it gives you natural suds, or it is a natural detergent that we can use. So we use that soap berry and you simply just agitate it with water, thinking like mimicking that predator hitting on it. It will give you suds. It's antibacterial. It is a natural detergent that we can use. And we use that for cleaning our kitchen countertops, for washing our clothes. You put it into a muslin bag, throw it into the washer dryer. You can wash your clothes with it. We can wash our dishes with it. So now we made them into a dish bar using soapberry as the main component. Tamarind, did you know tamarind? With the tamarind, if you use tamarind on the vessels, it will give you the shine. If you use shikakai on the vessels, it pulls out the grease and the grime. And then we used lemon peel for the antiseptic value because you want to make it hygienic and you want to make it clean, but in a natural way.
Mm-hmm.
So these four components, along with coconut oil, when it is mixed and saponified together, it produces, we have this dish bar and the water from the bar again. When you wash them, of course, there's no difference between using a dish soap and a dish bar. We've done studies to say that one dish bar can replace two dish soaps, two bottles of dish soaps. And the dish bar can last you a good a month and a half. So the water from the dish bar, when it goes back to the sink, it makes them antibacterial. When it goes back to the earth, it will make the microbial life thrive because it's literally coming. It's literally a berry coming from this tree, which gets disintegrated, biodegraded, and goes back into the soil. So it makes the microbial life thrive, maintaining the organic content. So it is so important. All our products has to talk to the three aspects: the people, the planet, and the soil.
Mm-hmm.
Back down.
I wonder how we got so far away
This is
from these
nothing
things.
new.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is nothing new. This concept, what I'm talking, is nothing new. We have used them back in the day. People back in the day, they would just literally use tamarind and lemon peel and salt to wash their dishes, or they will simply just use the soap berry. So this is not new science. It's something, what we have done is just compose them together in a way such that modern community, or at least our community in America, can use them and can understand the science behind it, and then realize, oh wow, look at the efficacy of the plants. That's what I want to be able to tell at the end of the day, and hence move into an Ayurvedic lifestyle, right?
That's amazing. I mean, I just wonder, how companies are still, it's taking us so long to make this transition away from plastics. Even though the science and the evidence is out there, we know that this is not good. It's killing life on the planet. It's harming. It's very very bad for our home. I mean, if we think of the planet as like the outermost shell of what we can actually touch and see and feel, and
Yeah.
anyone who has kids, just think like the longer we prolong this, you know it just feels like it keeps getting shelved for the next generation to deal with, or like, oh, I don't know, eventually we'll figure it out. It's like, no, we can actually figure it out now. We don't need plastic, and like how you were
Well,
treating plastic as a little girl is so beautiful. How you really, you didn't take it for granted. It was something that was
yeah.
reused. You reused it. It wasn't just something that you were constantly using and throwing away and buying more and then, just multiplying the waste. Um, yeah, I think, and I think that this way of living, for some reason, unfortunately, has gotten a bad rep. It's become associated with a specific demographic in this country. That's all like the hippies. like the
Hmm.
people who is an archetype that was created in the 70s when, the Vietnam War was going on and people were wanting to explore consciousness through plant medicines and just rebel against the status quo. But this way of living transcends any demographic. It's actually beneficial for no matter what your political beliefs, no matter what um, economic background you come from. This is something we all need to be on the same page about because we all share the same house. Ultimately, this planet is it's our it always astounds me how the environmental issues or like um ethical considerations for environment always tend to be something on the left. Like an environmental issue is usually like a liberal priority or value, and
Yeah,
it's
that is
always
true.
it's always
That is true.
confused me. It's been very, very confusing to me. I understand, like, we need economic growth, we need, we need resources, we need entrepreneurial that's kind of what makes America great, is that anyone with an idea can really, there's a way for anyone to make whatever they want. A lot more freedom to thrive, at least with what you want to do, and the freedom to create what you want in terms of business. Um,
Hmm.
but there needs to be some like ground rules. No pun intended there, but those ground rules have really been totally crossed again and again, and I think we've lost our way and we need to find our way back. And slowly week after week I come on this podcast and I talk about a range of different things about Ayurveda. I always, each week I never know like particularly which topic is going to come up, but this is the one. It 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 sparks so much inside of me, and I think all Ayurvedic practitioners, because we all know there's this truth underneath like the deepest layers of the Vedic system that like tether us to
Mm.
what's real and what's true, because a lot of things are smoke and mirrors. We're seeing a lot of illusions now. We're in Kali Yuga. We're in this time of like anything can claim they're anything and anyone can say they're anyone, and you don't know what's real anymore. But this is a something, it always tethers us, it anchors us, it grounds us, and we need to follow this code of ethics that Ayurveda has laid out, and yoga and Ayurveda. And it's a relationship with the earth. It's a relationship with each other. It's learning how
Right.
to relate with your own prana, and then learning how to relate to every action, all the karma that comes with every single action that you choose. And giving you the information allows for you to choose more wisely what products you buy, what products you use, what products you use for your family, and what norm we're setting for the next generation. What are we considering normal and acceptable behavior?
Hmm.
Because if
Hmm.
littering is just litter your garbage on the that's not an okay thing for so many different reasons. And now I see signs all over the place saying, like, if you do that, there's like a $300 fine or something. Well, I think that there should be a fine for plastics at this point, you
Yeah.
know?
See, I mean, you're so right about the plastics, right? There is, I mean, with so much of awareness, people still, we are still having plastics. We are still having plastics are so hard to get rid of because it is such a versatile, I'm sorry to say that, but it is such a versatile material. A material that can never get degraded. How fantastic is that? Like any scientist would want to have materials like that, which can never get degraded. But I think we've just gone berserk completely with the way that we have utilized it.
Yeah.
And now to go back in time, I think is primarily is comes with education, because the solutions that we have out in the market, okay, get rid of plastics, but then we can try to use reusable plastic. Okay, get rid of all the reusable plastics, then we try to use paper. You know, people don't realize that using plastics is such a versatile material that it can enter through within our system through multitude ways. You wear plastic clothing, like the kinds of clothing that people use for fitness, and you wear it for long periods of time, microplastics enters you. You use reusable plastic bag, especially to get your groceries. You're gonna get things onto your produce, especially the microplastics will enter the produce. And also that it can help. I mean, there's always toxins around there. You use plastics as a Tupperware for your lunch, right? And you microwave it. When you microwave it, amount of radiation that goes in there, and you don't know the composition that happens, the chemical reaction that happens between plastic and the produce. So there was a science back in the day. There was a science, and there was a reason behind why we used what we used. In Ayurveda, people only talk about cotton clothing as the most, or any natural fiber as a
Mm-hmm.
clothing, because that is the one that is going to help you breathe. Your skin needs to breathe, and you need to have constant circulation within the body at all times. That's why in yoga, at least in the traditional form of yoga, we always use loose clothing to when you're
Mm.
doing your yoga practices, because when you're doing yoga practices, you want your prana to flow. You don't wear tight clothing. That means you're obstructing the prana to flow, which
Yeah,
is such a
yeah.
different concept,
I'm guilty of
right?
that one,
This is,
gotta say. I'm guilty of that one. I wear leggings. I wear leggings.
but in the same, yeah, in the
Yeah.
same way, like back in the day, we only used these cotton bags, which is literally made out of reusable fabric. They never used to make bags to go and do a grocery run, but literally out of reusable fabric, which could be reusable saris, or saris that gets thrown away. Um, but there's a reason behind this, because it was the most breathable fabric, and that's why when we came out, when I started this initiative, the first thing I wanted to do was how can I reduce plastic waste, right? That was the first important thing in my head. So we came out with these organic cotton totes, which has multiple pockets inside the bag. So that means when somebody goes for a grocery run with us with those totes, they don't have to use plastic liners. So they can simply just segregate their produce and put it inside to the compartments. And at the same time, each bag can hold a good weekly produce run, because it's very durable. You can wash them, and it will last you a lifetime.
Hmm.
So it's something that can last you a lifetime. So we did a lot of studies. So the thing is, how do I educate the audience about this, right? People don't understand. This is all about education. So we did a lot of studies, and we got it. It's plastic free certified, and it's organic certified. Now with the studies, we're able to say, with just one purchase of that bag, one bag, you will be able to replace 862 single-use plastic bags by just 1% per year. So we've almost replaced 70,786 pounds of plastic waste just this year. That impact is given directly to the customer when they buy the bag through our interactive QR code. It is given directly to the retailers. It just comes with education. Now, a lot of supermarkets carry them, and they don't carry plastic liners. They say even no to, they go one level above. They say, okay, no to plastic bags, but also no to plastic liners, which is what sits in this bulk produce section. And you literally take these liners and then throw the liners out into the garbage, right? Wait, but so what is it that we need to give to the audience, right? That this question, this questioning, I mean, you questioned, how can we reduce plastic waste? It comes in with policy from the government. It comes in with all these functional products that we need to supply to our community, such that you're making their lives easier, because we are used to plastics. That's not going to go away. We have to go back in time. But for us to go back in time, people are not going to compromise on convenience. They still want the convenient living. But how do we give them the convenient living at the same time, take care of the planet and take care of ourselves, and somehow bring the efficacy of the importance of the plants that lives around them and for them? So that was my whole intention of every product that we find in different lines. Somehow this education has to reach to the customer at the end of the day, so that they can transform into a 100% toxin free living for their daily needs, and that's possible.
I love it. What is the meaning of miti? The name is pure miti. So what does miti mean?
Miti means earth or soil
Ooh.
in Hindi. So we want to say that every product that you use comes from the earth, and that is the truth. Everything that we need for our daily needs comes from the earth. And in pure mitti means we are using those ingredients in its purest form. We don't adulterate it. We don't make derivatives of it. We use it as is in its raw format. So there's in our products, if you see, there's absolutely not an ounce of synthetic materials, like no synthetic fragrances, no additives, no colorants. It's as is. If the herbs is able to give you that particular essence with that particular color, then that's what you get as a product. So it's pure
Love
mitti
it.
means we also call another thing saying pure living with pure mitti. That means you're trying to live it in, you're trying to go back in time, but at the same time, you're living in a modern life and you're used to conveniences. So I'm able to give you the conveniences through our
I
brand.
bet Sadhguru. Oh yeah, didn't you say he wanted some of these products for his temples, for his yoga centers?
I don't
You're
know about
making
that,
these now.
but
Not yet?
we are making. I don't know, but that's still in the works. We're
Oh,
still having conversations about that. But yeah, I'm supplying to their foundation in Tennessee right now. We're making
that's
some of the products
incredible.
there.
Yeah, I mean, if Sadhguru is not to like, just say like put you on the spot and say like Sadhguru approves of this brand, but that's kind of a huge um sponsor, not sponsor, but like in someone who has such great influence on this movement of sustainability, and he's if he's in that way promoting what you're creating, it just feels like not that it's not already verified, but it just adds like another like stamp of approval from the universe, from like such an elevated being, that I would feel like if I were you, I'd be like, wow, like these soaps are going to be, used for yogis in that are accessing such deep states of meditation. And who knows, I mean, this could lead to so many collaborations for you, I think. So many people, I think, are starting to wake up to the importance of focusing on sustainable economy, sustainable lifestyle. Just that word, even the NAMA conference next year is like focused on
Hmm.
sustainability. And because things are just, we need to really. That's why I think, you've been able to tap into, I think, some artery of like truth, that like universal truth. And when you were in those deeper states of consciousness and when you were meditating, I think something was probably you picked up something there, and now it's like flowing through you, right?
I know,
I
I
think.
hope it is flowing through me, but I feel a huge portion of my transformation is because of Sadhguru's
Mm,
teachings and through Isha Yoga, which I'm a total follower,
yeah,
an
yeah.
avid follower. Um, and I looked at this initially the first few years. I couldn't even look at it as a business. I only looked at it as an offering back to
Mm,
Earth, back to what he had to talk, back, such an elevated being, and I was I was very influenced with, I mean, just because of the practices that we do, and then it just drove me to another level of consciousness where you realize that you're such a small speck in this world, such a small speck, and if you're such a small little tiny being, whatever work that you do, if it really helps and if it becomes an inclusive for this entire world, and if it is useful and purposeful for the world, then that brings in a huge amount of satisfaction. And I was able to experience that through my practices. And I said, okay, I should just do this as an offering. So initially, the first few years, I couldn't even look at it as a business. But then I had to look at it as a business because I have to
we
feed
have
myself. I
to.
have to feed my
That's
children.
exactly.
And it took
Yes,
me
yes.
it took me a few years to get on that little curve to say, okay, okay, now let's make it into a business. So even today,
Exactly.
I mean, I feel it's just an offering. And I hope this offering is able to transform people and touch people. More than that, transformation, at least touch people, and people understand that, there's a reason behind what we did back in the day, and we are just trying to emulate that reason back. And and if that is the Ayurvedic way of living, then so be it. I mean, let's. instead of naming it to say Ayurveda. Because even if you look at native, if you look at any culture, right, native Indians, uh, our land was filled with them. Uh, they have so much reverence to the land. They only
Mm,
speak to the. I mean, if you look at their traditions and their the principles that they follow, it's all related to the five elements: the land, the water, the
mm,
wind, and everything is, and their medicines too, to the largest extent, because there's a reason, and it worked. And even today, if we follow their herbal concoctions, it still works. But we should just take it, um, instead of looking at it, instead of deriving everything scientifically to say, okay, this is a problem that we have. We need to supply detergents for our washing. So let's try and create detergent. Instead of doing that, instead of just us looking back to the nature to say, such things are still available. It's just a matter of perspective and matter of being conscious. I think the whole world can change,
yes. Oh,
right?
I think so too. I mean, I we won't give up. That's not an option. Giving up isn't an option, right? We're alive, we're breathing. We have these bodies for rent, but we have the prana, we have the consciousness, we have the drive. Something is driving us back to Ayurveda. We have to trust that it's not just us, that wants this. I think everyone wants this on some level, on some unconscious or subconscious level, but people just need to be encouraged and supported and make these products accessible, like make help scale
Hmm.
the the business, basically the business aspect, get more retailers to carry pure miti, and buyers for like
Yeah,
different markets, or like I see pure miti I could see that at Whole Foods easily, but I could also see it at the farmers market. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I could see it at yoga
yeah,
studios. And Ayurveda and yoga are sister sciences, so supporting each other. I mean, it's really time for Ayurveda to start being represented more in these yoga studios, not just yoga like leggings and yoga mats, because that's really been like the bulk of the retail side of the yoga industry, is like selling the clothing and the mats. But
hmm
now let's
hmm
introduce the full lifestyle of what it means to be a yogi, which is rooted in Ayurveda.
right, right,
Yeah,
absolutely. And that that a concept getting into the community, um, it's an education, but I'm we're getting there now. People are able
we're
to understand,
here.
oh, okay, Ayurveda for personal care products, okay, that's a thing. Yeah.
It's a thing. Did you guys
Yeah, I
hear?
know.
This is a thing now. Tell your friends. Spread the
No,
word,
podcasters
everybody.
like you, Sasha. It's so exactly podcasters like you to talk about Ayurveda in a different lens is so important, because people have this conception. Oh, I don't want to go down traditional way. It's too conservative. It's too much for me to change lifestyle. That means I have to classify myself into a bucket. I don't know what I belong to. Am I a Vata, Pitta, or Kapha? I don't know what I belong to. You don't need to belong anywhere. That's the whole thing. You don't need to belong anywhere. Instead of identifying and putting yourself into a bucket, just to understand what's really happening within and what's really happening outside. And it's whatever is happening within is something that we have created. We have to fix it. And these plants and these herbs can really help you with that, right? That much of understanding is more than enough. They don't have to put, I don't know. I feel like classifying and identifying people and putting them into buckets just sometimes turns people off. Then feel
Mm.
like, oh, then I need to know about Ayurveda before I get into this science. And that's how I try to talk to people. I said, no, 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 you don't need to know about all this. Anyone can
I
practice
feel
this.
like, yeah, I feel like what we're doing now is we're tilling the soil. Like we're going back in, we're moving things around, we're shuffling it around, and now it's time to like bring in the good old nutrients, the soil, like just new soil, We're
Hmm.
I feel like we're in some aspects it's like this is a season for not harvesting but planting the seeds, and but before we even, I mean, we are planting seeds, but we're revisiting the question, what nourishes us. That's the question. What
Hmm.
nourishes us? because soil is the primordial nourishment. Soil. Kapha dosha is made of earth and water. So without water,
Mm-hmm.
you get dry dirt. So you need water, right? You also need diverse bacteria living in there. And so that's a huge metaphor for the way you live your life. I mean, when Suniti says Ayurveda is a lifestyle, she couldn't be any more accurate. I mean, it's like on the on the right on the nail is right on the head. It or she hit the nail on the head, I should say. But um, think about what it is that truly nourishes you. Is it living? What climate is it in? And what herbs smell the best to you? What aromas feel really good? Which oils, which tylums feel good on your skin? And I think only through experience and encouraging people to seek their own experience instead of just trusting whatever, whatever skin doctor or or marketer or just there's just so many options. But I think Ayurveda is here to encourage people to go on their own individual path to seek the truth for themselves and their own body, and also keeping in mind that we are connected and the choices that you make are not just going to affect your body, that every single choice we make, we're part of something bigger, and
Mm, mm,
bigger than we can ever even imagine. And we may never know with our mind what that is. We might never be able to see it, but we have to believe that it matters. That our lives matter. That our choices matter. They send a ripple effect
mm.
into so many billions of different directions. And why not make the decision to? I feel like every time we pay for something, we're voting for it. Like the
Yeah.
dollar it's a currency for the changes you want to see happening in the world. So when you buy organic, that means you want more organic farmers to earn a living. And then when you buy Ayurvedic products or you go see an Ayurvedic practitioner, you're voting for Ayurveda to have a place in the game, you
Mm.
know? So, and Ayurveda is so pure, and I love the fact that you have the word pure in your name, pure Miti, pure earth. I mean, it's so and then like the logo looks like two hands holding a seed. It's just so
Yeah.
perfect. It's so
Actually, the
beautiful.
logo is in, yeah, the logo is actually an inspiration from um, Isha Yoga again. There's this consecrated form called Linga Bhairavi, and her eye, this is the eye, and then it has this. So it's almost like she signifies Mother Earth, Mother Nature, Mother. She's the mother, and it's almost like the Mother Nature is holding all the beings and encompassing us as Mother Nature, and that is so true. Um, Talking about elements, the five elements that exist around us, which is holding this existence, those five elements live within us. It's a matter of understanding how the earth, the water, the wind performs within us, right? The conscious effort for that. And the conscious effort for that, once we are conscious that whatever is outside is still within us, and then we can work towards taking those conscious choices, because what you put in and what comes out is a complete interaction. There's a complete correlation with that. And if you put in conscious stuff on yourself, be it through consumption or be it on your product, on your topically, it affects the external environment too, which means it affects the mother nature, which is holding this entire existence. So I wanted to try to bring him in the concept of we need to put things in us which is pure, so that our planet outside becomes pure, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not. I mean, with people started talking about planet and conservation of planet and helping the planet only during COVID time, because they realized that their lives were in danger, because the planet's life was in danger. And that's a perfect analogy for you to see how interrelated and how interconnected we all are. If something affects outside, it affects inside. And that is so true even with Ayurvedic seasons, if you look at it. Right now we are at the fall season. It's almost heading to winter, and so it's a complete decline. And you can see
Mm-hmm.
that the more the you know the air or the vata within us is depleting because it's getting drier and drier and drier. So because of that, there are so many things that creeps up within us, which we really need to take care of. Like in my your skin is not nourished enough because it doesn't have enough moisture. Your gut doesn't feel the digestion is very slow because metabolism is very slow. It's so interconnected. So what are the things that you can do to harvest this season so that
Mm-hmm.
you nourish yourself, nourish your body, at the same time nourish the things outside. This concept or this if conscious effort of understanding somehow needs to reach to our mainstream audience without bucketing them as this is Ayurvedic, this is not Ayurvedic, right? This is basic things. But in Ayurveda, because it is Ayurveda, in this science, we have certain remedies that we need to do during the season, during the fall season, because you don't want your vata to be too high. You want to balance it down. So that's when we retort to the science to say, what do they do with? Because there is a beautiful reason behind it, and which has already been written. And if people can understand that, and I think we can go a long way to make this planet a bit more conscious.
Oh, well, Suniti, you're an angel. I'm
Right?
so glad that we were introduced to each other. And, like, yeah, thank you, Isaac. Again, I loved learning about you, your story, your business, your products, your path, everything you're offering. And I can't wait to see. I hope you're going to be at NAMA next year, right? In Colorado?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes,
Well,
yes,
I
for
will
sure.
see you there. I will definitely see you there. And I can't wait to
Yes, for
try some
sure.
of these products myself and replace all my plastic things now. This conversation has inspired me to a new level of it's a good reminder. I think a lot of people, a lot of people know these things and then they forget, if it's not like talked about and people are traveling a lot and then they forget and we can do this, like we can make this change. We can integrate this knowledge. It's just we have to be patient with the process and keep reminding people. Just keep reminding people. And I think that persistence, the gentleness, the gentle approach, the non judgment is so important as people make this
Mm,
change. Um, Change is difficult, and people get attached to the things that bring them convenience and ease. And we're trying to kind of gently nudge people into a direction of let's let's change so that, like, again, future generations can have more ease, not just us, because it's not just about selfishly wanting it to be an easy time for ourselves. It's about the greater, the greater picture. And yeah, I think we covered everything. And if people want to find you or order your or sell your products at their store or order some for themselves, they can go to puremiti.com. You sell wholesale, and there's this really cool feature on your website called Puremiti Metaverse, which I was like, whoa, this is so cool. It's like
yeah,
an actual virtual shopping bag. Um, so
yeah,
yeah, I love it. I love this thing. I want this bag. There's an
yeah.
artichoke in here. I've been eating artichokes lately. Just kind of random little. I've been baking them. And
How do you eat artichoke? How do you cook them? I've always
how do I
wondered
cook them?
how do you eat them?
So simple. I put them in I put them in tin foil, which I don't really know how sustainable the tin foil situation is. You probably know more about tin foil than me, aluminum foil. I'm sure it's like not the greatest, but I cut the
Mm-hmm.
top and the bottom, and then I salt it and put like a little bit of olive oil or ghee. Olive oil is just easier because it's
Mm.
more, well, unless you have melted ghee, but
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then I think I put them in the oven at, I want to say like 425 or 450 for almost an hour, like 50 minutes. I bake it. And then
Mm-hmm.
I just, leaf by leaf, I just eat one by one, peel the
Oh
artichoke and
wow,
get the meat off
really?
of the, yeah. Hmm.
Oh, never had it that way.
Yeah.
I never knew you could even do it that way. It was amazing.
I
It's
just
almost like a
started.
baked potato.
Yeah, like a baked potato. Totally. Yeah.
Ah,
Delicious. And I love the taste. It's very pitta pacifying because it's very bitter.
Oh,
you
really?
know?
I see.
Yeah. And then it's vata pacifying if you spice it right because it's warm and mushy and easy to digest. So I really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. I gotta try that out. Artichoke.
Hmm.
I've never, in my wildest dreams. I just didn't know
Yeah,
how
and
to
you can make
consume that vegetable.
like artichoke dip is so yummy too. Now I'm getting hungry.
Yeah.
We gotta
Yeah.
go
I've
for
done
our
the
lunch
dips.
break.
I just didn't know that I could.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
I've done the dips.
it's
I didn't
delicious.
know I could steam it and eat it. That's amazing. That's
Uh-huh.
something I've learned.
Yep. There you go. I learned something, you learned something. This is the beauty of,
Yeah.
satsang. With like-minded people, it's so important to get together with people who are on a similar path and just have similar values, and you always have something to learn and you always have something to offer. And I'm again, Suniti, thank you for your time, for coming on. I can't
Oh,
wait
thank
for
you,
people to
Sasha.
hear this, and for people to buy your soaps and your just everything. I want your energy to be on the I want to like promote everything you are, everything you're about. I love it. So thank you again.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sasha. Thank you. I mean, podcasters like you spreading the word is so important, I think, because we don't want to. I feel like sometimes Ayurveda it's been looked upon as a very dry and deep science, which needs a lot of prior knowledge. But someone who's making it so easy for a layman to listen to is so important, and you're doing a fabulous job. A lot of patience, but a fabulous job. Amazing, amazing that you've come this far.
You're
And
gonna
I'm
make me
so
cry.
thankful to Isaac to have introduced. I'm so thankful to Isaac to have introduced us.
God love
Another
you.
sister from another
God
mother
bless
is
you.
what I would call you.
Yes, yes, definitely. 100%. I bet if we did one of those astrology compatibility, charts, we
Yeah.
would be like, okay, these girls, they've been around. They've they've been related. I don't know. We must have come from the same womb at some point. Let's just say. Have to. There's no
Mhm.
way.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Mhm.
You're awesome. So, all
Oh,
right.
thank you, dear.
Well, can't wait to see you in person. And I feel like time is just going to fly, and then I'm going to see you. I know this is going to happen. I'm going
Yeah.
to see
Yeah.
you, and I'm going to be like, oh my God, how was that podcast recorded that many months ago? It feels like yesterday. You know? I know that that's what's going to happen. I'm going to see you and be like, oh my gosh, finally. We get to meet, have
Finally,
some
yeah, I
chai,
know. I know.
have chai and
Can't
a
wait. Can't
biscuit.
wait.
Yeah. Record another
Mhm.
podcast.
Mhm.
I'm going to
Cannot
bring my
wait. Cannot
producer
wait.
next year. I'm bringing my producer next to next year's Nama. We're going to like set up a room
Oh.
and have people, yeah, have people come
Oh,
interview
wow.
like in real time. I think that's just a really really smart
That's
way
awesome.
to go and get all different types of practitioners when people are like in that space, there's so much sattva,
Mhm. Mhm.
and the energy is so potent to get that
Mm.
sattva through, and that's you can't have ojas without sattva, right? And it's I think it's just such a great time to match the energy of exactly um when people are in that energy, they absorb it and they marinate in it, and then they can access that focus and like those higher dimensions of knowledge. Sometimes it's hard to get to pull them out. I mean, I oftentimes really really quick because I know we got to sign off now, but sometimes I find myself trying to like I want to go deep all the time with the knowledge, but like you said, because we're
Mm.
talking to people that
Mm.
this is all new. So I sometimes I'm like, oh, do I want to
Yeah.
talk sans? Do I want to get in? That I have to like I do like a tap dance. I do like a little, like one toe. I'll test the waters and I'll see the reaction of the person's face who I'm talking to, or I'll I imagine myself just, 7 years ago when I never heard the word Ayurveda, would this be too much for me? Or,
Mm.
but then I also have listeners that
Mm-mm.
have been with me for 2 years and they've already understood the Mahabhutas and the doshas and the dhatus. So some people know and some people don't. But I think we have to give people the benefit of the doubt that they're hungry for real wisdom. People are
That's true.
starving of real nourishment, of real nutrients, psychologically and physically and spiritually, and I want to satiate that hunger too. I have it myself, you know, and I think the more we have these conversations, you know, we're nourishing other people too by having them and by inviting people into this world that maybe they're not always
Hmm.
around these topics, you know? And so, yeah, thank you.
It's
Thank you so
absolutely true.
much
And
for,
they're looking for,
yeah.
yeah, they're looking for this I mean, they're looking for such wisdom, but then they're also looking for the wisdom to be presented in a way such that they can consume and they can understand, they can relate to it. So I think meeting them at where they are is very important, and then trying to relate it to their experience and see how Ayurveda can bring a difference to them in their life. I think that will be huge. If we can do a podcast like that, I mean, that'll be a total hit, especially to mainstream audience, right?
Oh my gosh. Well, to me, you are pure Miti. You are just pure Mother Earth energy. You have you're Pitta, but you have a lot of Kapha too. And I don't know if that's from all of your meditating and all of the work you've done in yoga, but you have something. You have access to a part of yourself that um, I just can feel the love inside. That's always so readily, you know, it just comes through in the way that you speak, and I don't know, I just love, I can't wait
No,
to be with
Sasha,
you in
thank you.
person. I want to give you a hug. Thank you, universe, for Suniti.
Thank you, girl. Thank you.
All right, well, that concludes our talk today, and I'm sure there will be many more to come, and have an amazing rest of your day.
You too, you too.
Thank you for listening to Ojas Oasis with Sasha Brashadsky. To learn more about Ayurvedic healing, please visit ojasoasis.com. We'll see you next time, and until then, have your smile.